What does the word whore actually mean? You hear it used in every way from a noun to an insult or a verb. Maybe you've seen it in a rap video, or you've seen it on the dance floor at a party. Either way, the word whore is used over and over again to describe girls and usually has a bad connotation. Maybe you've used it before, or maybe you haven't, but either way, do you know the real meanings behind it?
What images come to mind when you hear the word whore?
I guess someone who dresses in a way that looks disrespectful to themselves, but that's all based on opinion and personal.
I think of someone who acts really slutty and is just very promiscuous in the way they dress and act.
Blonde girls with short skirts.
Yeah, girls with not a lot of clothing on.
A girl who engages in sexual promiscuity, somebody who's provocative in the way they dress and act, especially with men.
Skanky clothing.
Girls wearing skimpy clothes and throw themselves at guys at parties.
Someone who sleeps around, hooks up with a lot of people.
Wait a second. Looks to me like there is a general consensus as to what comes to mind when people think of the word whore. For some, it's a girl wearing not a lot of clothes, or for others, it's the way she acts. But as you can see, most people's ideas are the same on this matter.
Do you think the word applies to different sexes? Like, can it be applied to men and women, or is it more one than the other?
It can be applied to both. Women. There's such thing as man whores.
I think like for women it's more like harmful if you call some other girl like a whore, but when it comes to guys, sometimes you call them like a man whore, and that's usually like, that refers to more of their sexual practice.
Men usually, when they're called a whore, it's more like based on their actions, whereas girls a lot of the time are just like called whore if they're like, excuse me, a bitch or something like that, you know. Whereas guys, like, it's kind of more accepted, I imagine, among guys, because if a guy's called a whore, it's like, oh, good job. I think normally the stereotype like mostly applies to women when people think about it, because I think it's more like a whore is like a woman. Like,
It has the same meaning for both, but like they said, it's more geared towards women.
I think it's definitely geared more towards women, but you can call guys whores.
Is the term offensive to you?
No, not at all.
To men? Or like...
Like if you were called a whore?
No.
If they were my friend, and I know they were joking and being like sarcastic, I guess I would feel somewhat insulted.
yeah, I don't really see how it couldn't be offensive. I mean, it's just like, it's like a rude thing to say. It's like calling someone a bitch. It's just not
Yes,
tasteful.
it's offensive, and I would feel degraded.
I think it is offensive, and I would feel upset if someone called me a whore because it's a stereotype and people don't know you and they just assume too. And like if someone called me a whore without knowing me, like that's not the truth. Like people shouldn't just assume that kind of thing.
No, I don't think so. If so, it would take a long time and a different reinforcement.
For a guy, it means a good thing. If it's for a girl, it means a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't think the word can ever be reclaimed because I would not personally use that towards any of my friends because it is rather offensive.
So in our interviews, we realized a lot of things.
Yeah. We found that mostly everyone answered basically the same thing for the same questions, like whether it was boys or girls.
And everyone kind of said that when they heard the word whore, the same thing kind of came to their mind, that it was like the skankily clad girls, and mostly everyone thought it pertained to women, and that's what they thought of predominantly.
And most of them thought of more of a look rather than like the textbook definition of a whore, which is, you know, someone that has sex for money.
Yeah, or someone who, like, I guess whores themselves around. You would think that they would be, like, having sex all over the place, but everyone kind of said it was more of, like, the dress and the look instead of, like,
acting like a whore, which kind of surprised me because I thought, like, when I thought of the word whore, I kind of thought of, like, someone who, like, had sex with anyone and everybody.
Yeah.
But that was not the case with our interviews.
And also, most people said that when we asked whether it applied to men or women more, they said it applied to women more, but it applied to men as well. But when it was applied to men, it was more of like a joking around.
Yeah, it was like,
man,
good for you. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of like the thing, like the double-edged sword thing, where it's like, if like a guy has sex with a lot of people, it's like, good for you. You had sex with all those people. For a girl, it's like, oh, you whore. Like, you had sex with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of like that. And I also was really surprised with somebody said that whore would be like a stereotype. That like someone would be like thinking that it was a whore. Like you would say like, oh, she's a whore, but you wouldn't even know. It's kind of like a rumor.
Yeah.
In a way.
And most guys said they wouldn't be offended if they were called a whore, and most girls said they would be offended.
Yeah, so I think that our video project kind of proved the cultural way that words are used, in that the fact that most people have the same general idea of certain words. So I definitely think we learned that from our video project.
Yeah. Definitely everyone had a very similar opinion, which proved that, a word is not necessarily just a word. It could be like reclaimed at any time. It's offensive to some people, and it definitely means things that people don't realize.
Yes, so this was our video project. I'm Abby.
I'm Ashley.
And thank you for watching.